Hello, everybody. Myself, Prasant Mukhopadhyay, a faculty member, Electrical Engineering Department, Greater Kolkata College of Engineering and Management. In our last class, we have discussed about two important members of thyristor family, the diac and track. Today we'll discuss about silicon control switch, SCS, its construction, principle of operation, characteristics and application. So silicon control switch, it is a four-layer two-gate PNPN device with P terminal forming the anode and N terminal forming the cathode. A cathode gate at the P layer next to the cathode and anode gate at the N layer next to anode. So how SCS is different from SCR? So once again I am telling you, this is silicon control switch is a four-layer, three-junction, two-gate PNPN device. Four-layer, three-junction, two-gate PNPN device with N-P terminal forming the anode and N terminal forming the cathode. A cathode gate at the P layer next to the cathode and an anode gate at the N layer next to the anode. So we'll come to the its symbol, etc. Then it will be clear once again. So how SCS is different than SCR? Basically, it has an additional gate, namely the anode gate. Secondly, it is physically smaller than SCR and is designed for operation at lower voltage, current and power. It has lower leakage and holding current than SCR. It has more uniform triggering characteristics from sample to sample and it requires smaller triggering signals. So basically this figure, actually figure 1a and the basic structure and figure B is the circuit symbol. So figure 1a gives basic structure and figure B 1b is circuit symbol. So current flowing in any of the two gates, either this anode or cathode gates, so fires the device. So you know, in case of SCR we have when we want to turn on or fire the SCR, so gate is being triggered. So here also it has two gates, anode gate and cathode gate. So any of the two gates can be fired and current flow. Now, however, no connection made at anode gate. Basically, anode gate and with cathode gate alone is used only. So the device behaves like SCR. On the other hand, with cathode gate not connected and use of anode gate alone, the device acts like PNP, NP, NP SCR and is fired by making anode gate more negative. So, so this is the symbol. This is the four-layer, three-junction, two-gate structure of SCS. And this is a circuit symbol. This is cathode gate, and this is anode gate, and this is cathode gate. This is anode, and this is cathode. So there are four terminals. So basically, so SCS may be fabricated using either Brown junction technique or planar technique. Using the planar technique, anode is in the form of a ring of E-diffuse material surrounding the NPN transistors. See, working of say silicon control switch, actually it may be studied consider the SCS to be formed of two transistors model. This is transistor. This is one transistor and this is another transistor. This is two transistor, transistor 1 and transistor 2 placed back to back. It's back to back as shown in this figure. Okay. This transistor Q2 is NPN type. This is the NPN type transistor, and say this figure gives the circuit representation using circuit symbols for the transistors. So in this circuit, the figure, the base current IV, this is the base current IV of NPN transistors, Q2 gets multiplied by the current gain beta 2. This is beta 2 to constitute the collector current, which is equal to beta 2 IV. This is the collector current of the transistor 2. Beta 2 IV of this transistor 2, and this current form the base current of the transistor Q1. This is the transistor Q1, and beta 2 IV is the base current of transistor 1. So this current again beta 2 IV after multiplication by the current gain beta 1 of this transistor 1 constitute the base current of transistor 2. This is one beta 1 beta 2 IV is the base current of the transistor 2. Now if this base current beta 1 beta 2 IV exceeds the initial base current IV, that is if beta 2 beta 1 product of beta 2 and beta 1 greater than 1, then both the transistors Q1 and Q2 are driven to saturation and the device operates in the on state. Okay, so the quantity beta 1 and beta 2, the product of this current gain of the two transistors, decides the on condition of the device. Hence, any factor with influences either beta 1 or which influences either beta 1 or beta 2 will also influence the operation of the device. So reduction in either beta 1 or beta 2 reduce the product beta 1 beta 2, and in case beta 1 beta 2 reduces below unity, SCH gets switched off. So now what is the volt ampere characteristics of the SCS? This is the figure of the volt ampere characteristics of the SCS. This figure gives the for specific value of gate voltage, this specific value. Similar to that of the SCR, of course, as the applied forward voltage, this is increases. Current initially is extremely small and increases extremely slowly up to this point, and beyond this point, current increases rapidly, and at a voltage, forward voltage, say corresponding to this point P, the product beta 1 and beta 2 exceeds unity, and suddenly the device switches on onto the on state. So in the on state, the current becomes very large, and it can be limited only by using the series resistor V2. Now, as the applied forward voltage is reduced, this product beta 1 and beta 2 reduces, and current reduces, and conductance stops if the current is reduced below this holding current IH. So corresponding to this current, the voltage, forward voltage is VH, is known as the holding voltage. Now, in similarity with this here, the silicon control switch also exhibits negative differential resistance in this region. This is the negative differential resistance region VH. So if anode voltage gets applied suddenly, so this SCS gets switched on accidentally due to the rate effect caused by transition capacitance at reverse bias junction J2. You know, reverse bias junction J2 is here. Okay, junction 1, junction 2. So now silicon switch, its application. So silicon control switch is used in say pulse generator, voltage sensors, counters, timing circuit, logic circuit, design circuits, etc. So device is used in lamp drivers, power switching circuits, and logic circuits, as well as in essentially any circuit that requires a switch that can be turned on and off by two separate control pulses. So these are the some commonly used or application of silicon control switch. So we discussed about this SCS, its construction, its structure, its symbol, how it operates, and how it is its characteristics, and ultimately where it is mostly used. Okay, so that's all about silicon control switch. So now we'll talk about IGBT, its principle of operation, characteristics, and applications. Now, IGBT is insulated gate bipolar transistors. So this is the symbol. Insulated gate. This is collector. This is gate, and this is emitter. This is the construction like this. So construction and this its working characteristics. This is the most popular and commonly used power electronic switch devices. This bipolar junction transistors and MOSFET. So we have already studied the BJT and the MOSFET working in our earlier semesters. So and how they are used in circuits. That's what we have studied. Now we'll discuss about IGBT, insulated gate bipolar transistor, its principle of operation, characteristics, and application. First of all, we show you a brief overview of this IGBT. This is the symbol, collector, this is gate, and this is emitter. This is the say practically available IGBT, how it is looked at. Now this is the say construction, and this is basically the working. This is voltage and collector current, and controlling voltage different gate emitter voltage. So this is cutoff region, this is active region, this is saturation region. So later on we are coming to these questions. This is a most popular and commonly used power electronics switch devices. Basically you have already studied about that. This is bipolar junction transistors and MOSFET, metal oxide field transistors. We have already discussed about this in our earlier semester about this BJT and MOSFET, its working and how they are used in circuits, etc. So these are you are already familiar with, but these components have some limitations to be used in very high current applications, and some limitations to be used in very high current applications. So we move to another popular power electronic switching device called IGBT. So since we are talking about power electronics and drives, and since power electronics deals with a large power to handle with, so that's why this BJT and MOSFET, which we have studied earlier in earlier semester, so that will not of any use for high current application. So we'll learn about IGBT. So IGBT, you can think IGBT is a fusion between BJT and MOSFET. These components have input characteristics of BJT and output characteristics of MOSFET. So very interesting. So since it's the fusion between BJT and MOSFET, so its input characteristics is like BJT and the output characteristics is like MOSFET. So today we'll discuss about the basics of IGBT, how they work, how to use them in circuit designs, etc. So now come to the point of what is an IGBT. So it's the short form of insulated gate bipolar transistors. So it's a three-terminal device, three-terminal switching device that can be used for fast switching with high efficiency in many types of electronic devices. So mostly these devices are used in amplifiers for switching and trigger and processing complex wave patterns with pulse width modulations, etc. So typical symbol of IGBT along which it's one of its image is shown here. This is the symbol of IGBT, and it's a typical use available IGBT. IGBT, as I told you, it's a fusion between BJT and MOSFET. Symbol of IGBT is also represents the same. So even see the input side represents the MOSFET with gate, and output side represents BJT with collector and emitter. So collector and emitter are the conduction terminals, and gate is the control terminal, with which the switching operation is being controlled. So very interesting thing is that since it is a fusion of BJT and MOSFET, so MOSFET contributes its gate terminal portions, which is used for controlling purpose, and this BJT is contributing the collector and emitter portion for conduction terminals. So what is the internal structure of IGBT? So it is can be constructed with equivalent circuit. It consists of two transistors and MOSFET. As the IGBT possesses the output of the combination of PNP transistor and NP transistors, NPN transistors, and this MOSFET. So IGBT combines low saturation voltage of a transistors with high input impedance and switching speed of a MOSFET. Once again, I'm telling it combines the low saturation voltage of transistors with high input impedance and switching speed of MOSFET. The outcome obtained from this combination delivers the output switching and conduction characteristics of the bipolar transistors, but the voltage is controlled like a MOSFET. So once again, since it is a combination of two, this combination delivers in such a way the output switching and conduction characteristics of a bipolar transistor, and voltage control is like a MOSFET. So this is C, this is collector, this is emitter, and this is the gate of IGBT. So since it is a combination of MOSFET and BJT, they are also called different types of names. Different names of IGBT are, say, insulated gate transistors or IGT, metal oxide insulated gate transistors or MOS IGT, gain modulated field effect, say, transistors or GEMPET, and conductively modulated field effect transistors, COMPET. So these are the different names of IGBT available in the market. This, once again, I am telling you, this is insulated gate transistors or IGT, metal oxide insulated gate transistor, MOS IGT, gain modulated field effect transistors or GEMPET, or conductively modulated field effect transistors or COMPET. So how it works? So this working of IGBT is shown here. So IGBT has three terminals attached to three different metal layers. So this is these three terminals. See, these are attached to three different metal layer. The metal layers of the gate terminal is insulated from the semiconductors by a layer of silicon dioxide. See, that is shown here. Silicon dioxide. This is the silicon dioxide that is isolated from this terminals. So IGBT is constructed with 4 layers of semiconductor sandwiched together. The layer closer to collector is the P plus substrate layer. Above that is N minus layer. So this is P plus substrate, and that is N minus negative layer actually. So another P layer is kept closer to the emitter inside the, and inside the P layer we have the N positive layers. See, there it is. See, these are okay. So the junction between P positive layer and the N negative layer is called the junction J2. This is junction J2. P positive and N negative means this is junction J2. And the junction between N negative layer and P layer is called junction J1. This is junction J1. Okay. So the structure of IGBT is shown here. This is like this. What I told you. This is depicted here. Now, to understand the working of IGBT, consider a voltage source VG is connected between connected positively to the gate terminal with respect to the emitters. See, positive with the gate terminal with respect to the emitter. Emitter is negatively connected with the negative terminal. Now, so now consider other voltage source. This is a VCC connected across the emitter and the collector. This is VCC is connected to the emitter and the collector. Collector is connected with the positive terminals, and with respect to emitter, emitter is connected with the negative terminals of the source. So now due to voltage source VCC, so junction J1 will be forward biased. This junction J1 will be forward biased, and junction J2 will be reverse biased. Okay, since junction J2 is in reverse bias, there will not be any current flow inside the IGBT from the collector to emitter. So initially consider that there is no voltage applied to the gate terminal. So at this stage IGBT will be in a non-conductive state, that is shown earlier. In the characteristical we will find it. So later on we are coming here. So now no voltage applied to the gate terminal, so at this IGBT will be in a non-conductive state. Now if we increase the applied gate voltage due to the capacitance effect on the silicon dioxide layer, the negative ions will get accumulated on the upper side of the layer and the positive ions will get accumulated on the lower side of the silicon dioxide layer. Okay. It is so. So this will cause the insertion of negative charge carriers in the P region. So higher the applied voltage, this VG, greater the insertion of this negatively charged carriers, and this will lead to the formation of a channel between junction 2, which allow flow of current from collector to emitter. That is shown here. Collector to emitter. So the flow of current is represented. That is I told you in this picture, this directions. This current is shown when the applied gate voltage increases, the amount of the current flow is also increases from the collector to emitter, also increases. So as I told you in the very first uh, starting, so this is the characteristic which I will discuss later on in details. Now, what are the types of IGBT? So types may be classified into two types of IGBT based on the N plus buffer layer. The IGBT is that having the N plus buffer layer is called the punch 2 IGBT or PT IGBT. The IGBT that does not have any N plus buffer layer are called the non-punch 2 IGBT or NPT IGBT. So based on their NPT IGBT and PT IGBT, that is the non-punch through and punch through, are named as symmetrical and non-symmetrical IGBTs. So the symmetrical IGBTs are the ones that have equal forward and reverse breakdown voltage, and asymmetrical IGBTs are the ones that have a reverse breakdown voltage based on the forward breakdown voltage. So symmetrical IGBTs are mostly used in AC circuits, whereas asymmetrical IGBTs are mostly used in DC circuit because they don't need to support voltage in the reverse directions. So so you get two types of IGBTs. The one is punch 2 IGBT and another is non-punch 2 IGBT. Because of their say N plus buffer layer, these are called punch 2 and N plus buffer layer where it is not there, so it's called non-punch through IGBTs. So now that is the types. Now we'll come with the next. So we get two types of IGBT. One is punch 2 IGBT and another is non-punch 2 IGBT. And they are named as per the N plus buffer layer presence. Where buffer layers is present, that is called punch 2, and where it is not present, so it is not non-punch 2 IGBT. Now, what is the difference of between these punch 2 IGBT and non-punch 2 IGBT? Punch 2 IGBT before doing this difference, we must say this non-punch 2 IGBT are called symmetrical, and punch 2 IGBT are called non-symmetrical IGBTs. And this symmetrical IGBTs because that have equal power and reverse breakdown voltage, and asymmetrical IGBTs have a reverse breakdown voltage less than the power breakdown voltage. So mostly symmetrical IGBT is used in AC circuits, and asymmetricals are used in the DC circuits. They don't need to be support voltage in the reverse direction. Now, with this, we can draw the differences between punch 2 and non-punch 2 IGBTs. Punch 2 IGBT are less rugged in short circuit failure mode and has less thermal stability, whereas non-punch 2 are more rugged in short circuit failure mode and has more thermal stability. In punch 2, collector is heavily doped P positive layer, and non-punch 2 collector is lightly doped P negative layer. So it has in case of punch 2 IGBT, it is small positive temperature coefficient, constant voltage, hence parallel operation requires great care and attention. This is very important. And non-punch 2 temperature coefficient of constant voltage is strongly positive, hence the parallel operation is easy. And turn-off loss in turn-off loss is more temperature sensitive, hence it increases significantly at a higher temperature, and turn-up loss is less temperature sensitive in case of non-pulse through IGBT, and it will remain unchanged with temperature. Now, operation of IGBT as a circuit, since IGBT is a combination of BJT and MOSFET, so let us see its operation and as a circuit diagram. Here is the internal circuit diagram of IGBT, which includes 2 BJT and 1 MOSFET and another JFET. So gate, collector and emitter pins of the IGBT are marked here. So this is the internal circuit diagram of IGBT. Now, collector of PNP transistors is connected to NPN transistor through this JFET. JFET connects the collector of the PNP transistor and the base of the PNP transistors, and these transistors are arranged in a way, in such a way, to form a parasitic transistor setup to create a negative feedback loop. So the resistor RB, this one, is placed to short base and emitter terminal of NPN transistors. To ensure why this is sorted, to ensure the transistor does not latch up, which leads to which leads to the latch up of the IGBT. So JFET is used to signify the structure of the current between any two IGBT cells and allows the MOSFET and support most of the voltages. So that's all about the internal say circuit diagram and as this IGBT and its operation. Now, switching characteristics of IGBT will be discussed. This IGBT, you know, is a voltage control device, and it only requires a small voltage to the gate to stay in the conduction state. Once again, I'm telling you, since it is a voltage control device, so definitely it requires a small voltage to the gate to be in the conduction state. And since these are unidirectional device, they can only switch current in the forward directions, which is from collector to emitter. Typical switching circuit is shown here. The gate voltage VG applied to the gate pin to switch a motor. This is motor. This is M. For which apply voltage V positive. The resistor RS is roughly used to limit the current to the motor. See, gate voltage is connected here. Switching this motor. And this resistor is limiting this current. So series resistors. This is the typical circuit diagram. Now, input characteristics of IGBT can be understood from the graph given here. Gate voltage and collector current. Between graph this like this. No conduction state. This voltage is the release. This is the threshold voltage, and then it will be the current will flow. So say this has 3 stages we are finding here. When gate voltage is 0, so this is in the offset and called as the cutoff region. When gate emitter voltage is increased, if it is less than the threshold voltage, so then a small leakage current will flow. The device will still in the cutoff region. When this gate emitter voltage is increased beyond this threshold voltage, the device gets into active region and the current starts flowing to the device. So this flow of current will increase in voltage, this gate emitter voltage. That is shown here. You see the current emitter voltage is the current. This is the cutoff region. So it is that gate emitter voltage 1. Now it is increasing to gate emitter voltage 2. And it is this region is called active region. So that is the characteristics of this IGBT. Its switching characteristics. Now, how applications of IGBT are used in various applications. I told you the AC and DC motor drives, unregulated power supply, switch mode, power supply, CPS, traction motors, control, index rating, inverters. So used to combine and isolated get FET, the control input and micro out switch a single device. So these are some applications. So many more applications are there. So how this IGBT is available in a package form? So package of IGBT is like this different kinds of packages with different names from different companies are available. So for example, Infineon technology of through-hole type and surface mount type packages. Through-hole type packages includes TO262, TO251, TO273, 274, 220, 220, 3, F3, TO247, TO247 AD, and surface mount package includes TO263 and TO252. So, so that's all about IGBT. So what we have studied about IGBT is in a nutshell what is IGBT, what it is, its symbol, its construction, its working, then how it is structured, its internal structure, its working, how it works, then its types, difference between the different types of these IGBTs, then its operation, how it operates as a circuit, then its switching characteristics, and its this is the switching characteristics of and applications and available package of IGBTs. So that's all about IGBTs.